The year of the ninja still continues as we have now gotten Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. This game was announced back in 2024 from Team Ninja, and they also released another remaster version of Ninja Gaiden 2 known as Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which I've already covered. But soon enough, we will be getting the fourth game in the 3D series. Ragebound is a hack and slash 2D platforming game that resembles its original Nintendo classics. The last time we've gotten at least a 2D game in terms of home consoles was the Super Nintendo Remaster Trilogy, which some players have stated it's more of a downgraded experience compared to its original counterpart. This game is available right now on Switch, Windows, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and a physical version will come out this September on PS5 and Switch. Believe it or not, this game was made by the same people, or at least the same development team, behind Blasphemous. That's right, the people that made Blasphemous made this game. And also, believe it or not, you play as two different characters in the game. Kenji, who's trying to become a ninja to protect the Hayabusa village. And speaking of Hayabusa, you're also trained under Ryo Hayabusa. You don't play as him, but you do get to fight him in the beginning of the game, but you don't have to win against him if you're not that great at the game at the beginning part. Although there is a challenge where you can actually beat him, if you can. You also play as a member of the Black Spider Clan, who also is trying to help you along the way too to defeat the demon. Believe it or not, both characters have different abilities and weapons for you guys to use. Kenji uses the ninja sword, and Black Spider Clan lady uses, well, throwables. Yeah, she throws stuff at enemies and such. Even upwards, too, as well. There's even those little pod things where you can actually go into there and you can switch to an alternative reality and you can uncover different secrets or different objectives in order to open doors or passages that you couldn't access through before. But speaking of secrets, if you can find the secret scrolls, you'll be able to play secret missions that are throughout the game. They do tell you the difficulty in the game as well. This game is also difficult, even on normal. Because if you beat it, you can play the harder difficulty, which, well, I think I'm gonna pass on that. Because, let me just tell you, some of the bosses of the game are not your easy to defeat friend kind of thing. You can go through hazards and whatever, and you can also collect different items in the game, like the crystal skulls like you would in the 3D games, and also the golden scarabs. You're gonna need those scarabs because if you don't have them, then it's not gonna help you. The reason I'm saying this is because with the scarabs, you can basically use them as in-game currency to buy different talisman that can help you along the way, or if you want to add different challenge to make the game, well, harder to be exact. Like, for example, there's a talisman where if you die, you go back to the beginning of the stage. If that doesn't sound like old schooly to you, then I don't know what it is. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, in terms of the harder ones, but they're all labeled in different colors so they can tell you which one is fine, which one is harder. There's also ability too where, now it really depends on the color as well. You can one-hit enemies with it or use it against bosses. But again, it depends on the color. If it's blue, you use the sword to gain that little ability. Or if it's pink, then you have to use the throwable ability. And there's also healing orbs in the game as well. I do like at the beginning of the game they resembled the very first cutscene to the original Nintendo counterpart, which I do think they did a great job with. They also have some music in the game that resembles pretty much the original Nintendo games. Not everything is all the original Nintendo, but some of them are there, and I think this will make you guys happy for anyone who's played the 2D trilogy that was on the regular Nintendo. If you guys want to, the first game is available on the Switch Surface on the regular Nintendo, but for some reason we have not gotten 2 and 3 yet for whatever, even though they did came out on the Wii U and Wii Virtual Console. There's also a meter, not just for your health, but also the throwables, which you're gonna have to be smart in when to use them. But in order to gain more of that, you'll have to keep killing enemies in order to gain such thing. There's also a Ragebound spell where, again, it has a limited usage so you have to be smart on that one. With that, you can use it to defeat multiple enemies, or you can use it against bosses, which does massive damage to bosses. Again, it's not going to be easy for you guys to win. There's also sections in the game where you're on a vehicle and you have to dodge enemy attacks or defend yourself at least. But sometimes getting the secret crystals and scarabs can be pretty painful, even though there is a sign sometimes. You're just not sure when the perfect time to get to those items, because once you miss them, then there's no going back unless you go back to the beginning of the stage at least. If anyone's curious, in the normal difficulty, can't speak on hard because I don't know how it is going to be, and I can't quite imagine how it's going to be compared to normal. When you die, you go back to your previous checkpoint instead of losing a life or getting a game over, which is pretty nice for anyone that wants to have a lesser challenge time than what you had to deal with in the original Nintendo games, because once you die, you go either to the worst checkpoint possible, or it's just game over for you. So, that I should mention too is that the game itself has 2 different endings depending on the scenario at the end of what you want to do. It's not really long in terms of fighting the final boss, in terms of trying to get the ending, although it is painfully hard. But I am just going to say is that it's a choice-making thing, and I'm not going to spoil anything that's, well, anything else related. And I just don't want to spoil the fun for you guys, because I think if you guys play this, then it's fun. And I can see why the price tag was $25. Currently, at the time of this recording, there is a small discount where you guys can get it for a little bit lower than $25. Although, from what I read, physical-wise, it's $40. But I would just say this, you can find secrets in the game throughout the levels and see what secrets that you can pretty much uncover. The game is short, but I do think it'll give you enough time for you guys to play a Ninja Gaiden game if you haven't already played them before. There's different acts, there's like 4 different acts with a whole bunch of different levels, including like the secrets like I mentioned before. So if you guys want something to do, then you can do that. But if you guys are thinking about 2-player experience, then, well, the game's only single player. So you're going to have to master your skills and know when to use the skills right, so that way you'll be able to progress through the game without any sort of problem. So you're going to have to use your skills and some sort of strategy in order to make it to different platforms, because if you don't, then you're just going to keep on dying. So if you guys want to become the Master Ninja, then by all means, give this game a try, because I think you'll have some enjoyment for an old schooly type game as of this one.